Hello and welcome to Drip Feed, water talk straight from the source. Let's dive in. Hello, I'm Flora.
And I'm Mariella.
And welcome to our first ever podcast.
First episode.
I am so excited to be sitting here with you today. So, how are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm good. I'm nervous. I'm excited though. I think there might be some misconceptions that water's a dry subject, but I think sorry, that was terrible. I think we will prove that there's actually like a lot of interesting stuff that we can really delve into.
Yeah.
Or dive into, as we said earlier.
I think we've got a lot of puns to make and a lot to talk about today. So I'm going to start really big.
Okay.
Like the whole planet big.
Oh God, that's
right?
big.
Massive. What percentage of the world's water, the whole world's water, do you think is fresh?
Fresh. So what does fresh mean? Does that mean like drinking water, showering water?
It means not salty.
Okay.
What of all the water do you think is not salty water?
Oh, like 50%? Smaller.
Go down.
30.
Even less.
Oh, just tell me. What?
So it's like a drop in the ocean. 71% of the earth is covered in water. And of that, only about 3% is fresh water. But
for the whole planet?
For the whole planet.
Oh, God.
Even more dramatic, most of that is locked away in ice or deep underground where we can't access it. Okay. So I've got an analogy, and I don't know if you can imagine this.
Okay.
So if you had...
Imagine.
So if you had a 3-liter container, the amount of fresh water would be like a teaspoon of that, maybe 2 teaspoons.
Oh, that's crazy.
So it's so tiny, like the smallest amount. It's a lot rarer than people think, obviously. If you thought it was 50%.
Yeah, no, I'm actually really shocked by that.
Yeah. So it's a lot rarer than people think. And I think I wanted to start this episode off talking about our own personal connections to water.
Okay.
Because I think that's really important to, frame the discussion. And also, I guess, set the scene of why we are here as well, talking about what we're talking about. So I wondered if you had a personal story that you wanted to share. Maybe something about growing up in Scotland, or something about, I don't know if you're a swimmer or you like going on walks next to reservoirs.
Oh, well, I'm actually the least outdoorsy person in the world. But no, I do have like a kind of, being in Scotland, you do grow up with that appreciation for fresh water and water. And I think it's always when you go away, like when you go on holiday and you can't just you can't have it out the tap some places, but also it just tastes horrible.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can even taste the difference from drinking water in Glasgow and drinking water in Fife.
Which is better? Fife. You're such a Fifer. I love it.
So yeah, probably that. Like when I was younger, I think people thought I wasn't allowed fizzy drinks, but no, I just didn't like them. I'm still not like a juice person or that. It's always been like water. So that was always my go-to.
So you were saying about how tap water in Scotland is, you think, the best.
Oh, and elite.
Elite. I wholeheartedly agree. I grew up in the Midwest, which is like smack dab in the middle of the US. And a lot of our water sources were drawn from rivers that had a lot of agricultural runoff. So they were treated so much and they tasted almost like a swimming pool. The chlorine was so strong. So tap water in Scotland, I think, is the best in the world because a lot of our fresh water sources come from reservoirs, so they're above ground. The geography of the country itself, we've got really naturally soft water, really low mineral content, so not so much calcium and magnesium. So soft water sourced from our really pristine reservoirs. And did you know that we also have a team of professional water tasters?
I want that job.
Yeah, based at Heriot-Watt University. So there's 23 people who are constantly tasting our water to make sure it's the best.
And do they do it like the wine? Do they swirl it?
Like, what are those wine connoisseurs called? Yeah. Doing the swirl, seeing what the leg's like.
The notes on this one.
Yes, the notes are taste list. Perfect.
So Flora, have you got a personal story with water, Scottish water, water in Scotland to be precise?
So actually, I've got a different water story, but it's what brought me to water in Scotland, if
tell
that's
me.
okay. So I grew up just north of Chicago on a little lake. And yeah, it wasn't very much like city living. It was I lived very, very suburbia. But my house was on a lake, and every day in the summer I would spend swimming until we were prunes. And every winter we had this amazing hill that went down the side, and we'd go sledging down the hill and out onto the lake as far as we could go. It was really such an outdoorsy childhood. And I think that connection to the outdoors and that fresh water source really made me appreciate how valuable that is and how lucky I was to have that growing up. And I think then moving here to Scotland, I don't know. I've just always had water at the back of my mind. And I think I've always been drawn towards working with water because of that. And then hence the move towards, although it's wastewater, still part of the water cycle.
Yep, a very important part.
Very important part. And we'll get to that at some point. But today we're talking about drinking water.
Yes.
So, sure.
Okay, so you're telling me that we've only got access to 3% of the world's water.
Yeah, so 3% is fresh. But actually in Scotland, kind of, the way I was talking about, we capture our drinking water is primarily through reservoirs. So if you think about reservoirs at the very top of a hill, tends to be at the very top of a hill, only 1% of Scotland's rainwater actually ends up making its way into that reservoir.
So we've got even less than 3% in Scotland.
Exactly. So I think there's a common misconception. Scotland's a very rainy place.
Yeah, everyone always says, what do you mean we need to save water? It is always raining here. And it does feel like that. It feels like it's always raining.
Honestly, I was thinking about this. I think I've never experienced 4 seasons in one day. I didn't know what that phrase meant until I moved here. But it does feel like despite the heavy rainfall that we experience often, not all of that ends up in reservoirs. And also we tend to have more flash flooding here. So that means huge downpours, huge amounts of water all at once. And oftentimes a lot of that is rushing away into rivers and down into the sea and not actually captured where we need it to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes more sense now.
Yeah.
I'll use that next time someone tries to argue with me that we've got plenty of water.
It's still a really rare, precious source. And also, I guess if you think about it, before water can be
Drinkable. New word.
Drinkable, before it can be consumed, it needs to be treated, right? So we're not just drinking water straight from reservoirs. So we need to treat that. And if you think about the level of treatment that's required to get something from surface water quality to drinking water quality, that's a lot of energy and time and effort and people and a lot of things in that process that need to happen to make that water consumable.
I was shocked to find out that, a pair of jeans, a pair of denim.
Yeah.
The driest thing ever. Got some on. And that takes up to, it could be between 2,000 to 10,000 litres of water to make one singular pair of jeans.
2,000 to 10,000.
Yeah.
What does that even look like?
So to put that into perspective, 2,000 litres of water is about 5,000 cans of juice.
5,000 cans of juice.
I can't even visualise that.
I can't even visualize that.
I've definitely not drank that over my lifetime.
No. Do you maybe know that in number of bathtubfuls?
Not bathtubs, but 10,000 litres of water is about the size of a small swimming pool.
For a pair of jeans.
I know, and it just feels so wasteful, isn't it?
Wow.
So, Flora, would you like to know some very interesting history about water and the filtration process?
Absolutely. Lay it on.
So basically, in the 18th century, we're going all that way back, is when we established an effective way of removing particles and filtering water. And we'd make these filters out of wool and sponge and charcoal.
So natural materials.
Yes.
Cool. Very cool.
Ahead of their time. Then by the 19th century, there was the connection between dirty, untreated water and diseases.
Yes.
So before that, people were just guzzling it down.
Yeah.
So the role of water transmitting diseases like cholera, typhoid, it was realised, and filtration became part of the norm across Europe anyway. And then by the 20th century, that's when we introduced chlorinating water. So it became better to drink. And that's the two things we do now. We filter and we treat the water. But we also do the third thing, which is we're constantly testing it.
Yes.
And making sure it's
safe.
Top quality.
Safe.
Yes,
so
and safe.
That must be newer.
Yes.
Us testing our water. I mean, I'm sure they weren't testing back in the 19th, 20th centuries.
No, they weren't doing anything. So did you know that Scotland's drinking water is ranked as one of the highest in the world?
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
It doesn't come as a shock when you tell people that, like, best in the world. People are like, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Have you tasted it?
There are underground fan clubs for Scottish tap water. I have seen so much Scottish tap water merch floating about, really cool skate brands who are like trying to advertise.
No way.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, that's so funny.
It's really cool. I think Scottish tap water is pretty hot at the moment.
Yeah, we've got a bit of street cred, don't we?
We do have a bit of street cred.
So today, like our attitude, we can be guilty of taking it for granted because, you know, it's great, it's readily available, but it's not really what we should be doing if we want to keep up our good rep.
Yeah.
Keep having access to this lovely water. So stuff like taking long showers, using hose pipes and like big sprinklers when you've got maybe like a teeny garden, it's just like not necessary. But a lot of research actually does show that we personally underestimate how much water we use each. So how much water do you think?
Don't make me guess.
How much water do you think you use a day?
I took a bath yesterday.
I can't believe you're admitting that.
How much water do I think I use?
And you'll probably be lower than the average person because of like what you do for work.
Yeah.
But
I guess it's crazy because what my brain is
you'll
going
be lower
to.
than the average person because you don't wash.
I just told you I took a bath. I don't know. I also think, so I'm not going too big, right? So I'm not thinking about how much water is in all the food I'm eating, right? Because there's water
Just
in everything.
consumption of like drinking, flushing, washing dishes.
50 liters.
50 litres. Okay.
60 liters.
Okay. If you can live off 60 litres a day.
Yeah. Maybe if I'm camping.
I think we should set that up as a challenge. I think we should pre-ration you 60 litres of water and
Is
you
it
can see
so
how
much
far
higher
you
than
get.
that?
Yeah, double it.
120.
I can't do maths.
Triple it. Do you want me to triple it?
No, about 180 litres
Wow.
is the average consumption of a person in Scotland per day.
No.
And it's stuff you don't think about, like flushing the toilet uses so much water.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I remember saying this to one of my friends and I was like, you know how much water you use a day, average person in Scotland? And she was like, I don't even drink water. And I was like, it's not drinking water that's doing it.
It's the flushing, it's the washing.
Showering, the washing machine.
Bathing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, it's crazy. So I talked to you about 60 litres of water
My 60 liters.
that you imagine in an ideal world that you think you
My
use.
60 liters, yeah.
Do you think you could do a 20-litre water challenge? Because that's how much water they use in developing countries on average, because obviously they don't have as much access to it as we do and it's not treated as readily as we have it. So I think that would be a really good challenge. We should all try and set ourselves and see if we can get through the day with only using 20 litres, and that would just, it would blow your mind.
Wow.
You'd probably be done by the morning. After you've had your morning shower, boiled the kettle.
Yeah. And do you know what's crazy? When I'm thinking about, while we're talking about this, is that all of the water that we're using is drinking water, right? So everything we're using has been treated to a drinking standard.
You flush the toilet with
drinking
water that you could technically drink.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to, but...
No.
But you technically could.
We wouldn't advise that.
No. We will not advise that to anyone at home. But yeah, I guess I'm also thinking it's not just 20 litres of water, it's 20 litres of really high quality drinking water that we're using.
And that's not the same in every country.
Hey, Mariella.
Hey, Flora.
Do you fancy a coffee break?
I would love a coffee.
Special delivery from stage front.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thanks, Georgie.
And we cheers
Oh, we cheers.
to the first episode.
Cheers. You have to take a sip.
Oh, yeah. I
Make
forgot
eye
about that
contact. That is strong as anything.
Deliciously brewed with Scottish water.
I think it's a deliciously blued.
Yeah,
There are new blue
the blue
mugs.
Thank you for joining us on the first episode of Drip Feed. We'll be back every month. Like and subscribe to stay up to date.